Welcome to Inspiring Tales. Today's story, we'll explore an important lesson, the value of hard work and persistence when it comes to achieving our dreams. Theo, a young man living in a small village, dreams of wealth and success, but does nothing to make those dreams come true. Through his journey, we'll see how unrealistic hopes and laziness can hold us back, while hard work and discipline pave the way for a brighter future. Along the way, we'll also learn new words and see how they can be used in everyday English. So, let's dive into this story and discover how persistence can lead to success. In a busy town, life flowed like any typical day in a small village. Villagers moved about, going through their usual routines. Some traded goods in the marketplace, others headed out to the fields to work, and a few prepared to open their small shops. Among them, under the shade of a large tree, sat Theo, a young man known for his laziness and poor circumstances. Theo was physically strong and fit, tall and healthy, like any young man. But despite his potential, something inside him had stolen his drive. He lived in poverty, always relying on the kindness of others to get by. Though he had a body capable of hard work, his mind refused to take action. Instead, he spent most of his time dreaming of a life filled with wealth and luxury, hoping that one day fortune would find him without any effort on his part. Despite having no plan, he believed that success would somehow come to him. Even his meals were a gift from the villagers, who, out of sympathy, often shared food with him. One day, a wealthy merchant, who had prospered from a bountiful harvest, decided to share his good fortune. He began distributing fresh milk to the needy villagers as a token of his gratitude. When Theo heard about this, he couldn't miss the opportunity. Without hesitation, he hurried to the merchant's stall, where he was given a pot of the delicious, creamy milk. Theo's face lit up with joy, as this was more than just milk. To him it represented the possibility of something greater. Eager to enjoy his prize, Theo rushed back home, set up his stove, and used the firewood his father had left behind to boil the milk. He prepared a simple meal, some bread to go with the milk. As the milk bubbled on the stove, everything seemed perfect. After a short while, the milk was ready, and Theo eagerly poured it into a bowl, savoring the warm drink with the bread. He set the rest of the milk aside and placed the pot next to his bed, intending to save it for later. However, after finishing his breakfast, Theo's thoughts turned to something else entirely. Instead of helping his father in the fields as he should have, he decided to lie down on his bed. His mind began to wander, lost in a world of daydreams. As he sipped the milk, his imagination took over. He envisioned the milk turning into cheese overnight, and with that cheese, he could sell it at the market. With the money he would make, he could buy a hen. The hen would lay eggs, and from those eggs, little chicks would hatch. He would raise the chicks into full-grown chickens, which he would sell for profit. His fantasy continued to unfold like a story in his mind. Soon, he imagined himself owning a poultry farm, then expanding into a dairy farm where he would sell fresh milk to everyone in town. His business would grow, and before long, he would be rich. He would buy jewelry, and even the king would come to him to purchase fine items. His wealth would grow so much that he could marry a beautiful woman from a rich family, and together they would have a son. Theo's imagination ran wild. He pictured himself as a successful man, living in luxury, surrounded by everything he ever wanted. But in the midst of his dreams, one dark thought surfaced. If his son turned out to be lazy like him, he would teach him a lesson. He grabbed a stick, swinging it in the air as if to strike someone. In his daydream, he imagined hitting his lazy son with the stick, punishing him for his lack of ambition. But in the midst of swinging the stick, Theo made a careless mistake. He accidentally struck the pot of milk beside him, spilling it all over the floor. The sound of the milk splashing broke his train of thought. He stared in disbelief at the mess he had made. The milk he had cherished so much was now ruined. In that moment, Theo snapped out of his dream world and faced the consequences of his idleness. He sighed deeply, cleaning up the spilled milk and feeling the weight of his disappointment. The next morning, instead of reflecting on his actions or helping his father, Theo decided to take a walk around the village. He hoped that someone would once again be distributing charity, but when he walked through the streets, nothing had changed. Life continued as usual, and Theo's situation remained the same. His hopes of quick success were dashed, and his life stayed as poor and miserable as before. This story teaches us a valuable lesson. Sometimes we dream of achieving great things, but if we don't take action, our dreams remain just that, dreams. It is easy to sit back and hope for good things to come without putting in the effort. But real success comes when our actions match our aspirations. If we want to succeed, hard work is essential. If we want to be accomplished, discipline is necessary. If we seek help from above, prayer is important. Even if we've been lazy or idle in the past, we can change our habits and still achieve success. Conclusion. So, remember, if we want to turn our dreams into reality, we must put in the work. Life doesn't reward laziness, but it does reward persistence and effort. Hard work is the key to making our dreams come true. We all have the power to change, grow, and achieve what we set out to do if we commit ourselves to the process.